What's up guys, so today I'm going to show you how to make a really cute and simple paper flower with items from the dollar store. What you will need: graph paper, which you will use this to make your homemade template, and I actually have a video of how I made this template. I will link that in the description box below for you guys. And this is not cardstock paper, this is just regular colored paper. I know that Dollar Tree sometimes carries cardstock paper, so if you want to get that, you definitely can, but the flowers look great with regular paper as well. I have a cutting board, but you can just use a regular ruler, scissors, a pen, and a hot glue gun. Let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is decide how many petals I want. And again, I usually make 6 petals of the larger two and 5 petals of the smaller two. If you'd like, you can make 6 of all 4, or if you only want 3 layers, you can just remove the smallest one. Or say you want a smaller flower, you can remove the largest petal. So you're free to change it up and modify it as much as you'd like. But I'm just going to make 6 petals, 6 petals, 5 and 5. And with the templates that I made, they were actually made folded in half. So if you want your flowers to have that center crease like this, then you want to fold your paper in half and then trace the templates on that paper that's folded in half. Let me show you. So you would just fold it in half. And you would place the template right on top at the fold. And you would just trace around it. And once you've cut it out and you open it up, the flower petal would have a crease in it. So that's what I'm talking about. But if you say, oh, I want the flower petals to just be smooth and not have a crease, then what you're going to do is just lie it flat on the paper and trace it like this and then cut it out. I'm actually going to lie all the petals flat and cut them out. I love the creases, but I'm just going to try something different this time. So for the larger petals, of course, only one petal is going to fit on the sheet. But for the smaller ones, say for this tiny one, I can fit numerous petals on one sheet. So I'm just going to get these all traced and then I will cut them out. Alright, so I have all of the petals cut out. I have 6 of the larger two sizes and 5 of the smaller two. Again, you can do whatever you'd like. So I just made a dot right here, 1 inch high. You can definitely do 1.5 inch, but just know that, here, let me show you. So you just cut that. You can definitely go higher. The higher you go and the more that you twist it, the higher it's going to stand when it's sitting down. Alright, so I have cut slits in all of the petals, about 1 inch. You can definitely cut it higher if you'd like, but with the slits you have like the 2 little legs and you're just going to cross it over and hot glue that down. It gives it a nice little point. I'm just going to leave it at 1 inch slit, barely cross it over and leave it just like that. So I'm going to do that for each layer. Now I'm just going to go back and glue all of the slits together. Then I will finally glue the petals together, then we can make our actual flower. Alright, so I have my slit. I'm just going to put a small line of glue on the left side and cross it over. And across. Just like that. Then I set it to the side. Do the same thing. Here's the glue, cross it over, just like that. So I've placed slits in all of the petals and I've hot glued them together. So now I'm going to place the petals together, starting with the largest one and working my way down to the smallest layer. And I'm going to put them together in sets of 2. So I have my 2 petals. I'm going to barely overlap them. Just like that. Just look at it. Kind of make sure you like what it's looking like before you glue it down. And so I've barely overlapped the bottom, just slightly, and I have like a V. So essentially I want to try and keep this shape between each of the petals. Sometimes it doesn't work out that perfectly, which is okay, but it's just something to aim for. Alright, so this looks good. I'm just going to take my glue gun and hot glue these petals together. Just like that. And I have 6, so I'm going to first glue 3 sets of 2 together. So I have these 2 together. I'll place those to the side. I'll grab 2 more. And you can definitely just add on to the first 2, but I found this way to be a little easier. Alright, so I have 3 sets of 2. As you can see. Now I'm just going to finally place them together to make the base layer of my flower. So these 2. And these 2 right there to make 4. And you can kind of use the base as a guide because essentially it's going to make a circle. So if you try to keep the circle nice and round, everything should work out perfectly. Again, it doesn't always work out that way, but you can get it as close as possible. Alright, so I'm just going to glue this down right here. Glue these 2 together because I think that looks good. Just slightly. Perfect. Alright, and the final 2. And because this isn't cardstock, you do have to kind of work with it a little bit more, but it looks just as gorgeous. So this will essentially go here, and this side here. Again, I'm just making sure I like the way it looks before I get it completely glued down. That looks pretty good to me. Alright, so this is what the base layer is looking like. You see it makes a pretty nice circle, and I just overlap the layers on top of each other. Some people like to just place them all down, or some people like to have a base and just glue these onto a base at the bottom, which is completely fine. This is just the way I feel works pretty good for me. We're going to go ahead and do the exact same thing with the next layer. We'll set this over to the side for now. Alright, so I have each layer glued together. Now I'm going to glue each layer inside the next to make the actual flower. So, I have the largest layer here. What we're going to do is just add hot glue around the trim. Right there, add hot glue. And then just place the next layer right in the center. And you kind of want to have an idea of where you're going to place it. I like to kind of window the petals. So it's like, you see, a petal here, a petal there, petal there, petal there, in there. Just like that in windows. It doesn't matter, whichever way you prefer. Just going to add hot glue all the way around. And I'm going to place it down. I want to try to make it as center as possible. Just like that. We're going to do the same thing with this next layer. Alright, so we have all the layers complete. Again, if you want more layers, you can definitely do that. Fewer layers, that too. Whatever you prefer. What I'm going to do is take a little hot glue and the pieces that just kind of secure them to each other so that they're not flapping down. So I'm just going to take a small amount of hot glue and secure it. Just like that. And you don't have to do this step. It's just to make sure everything stays close together. Okay, now we're going to make the center. And you can make the center the same color or you can go with a different color. I'm just going to go with the same color. So what you do, you take a sheet of paper. You fold it in half. And if you want a large center, you keep this whole sheet. But I don't want it that large since my petals are pretty small. I'm just going to cut it in half. No specific measurement or anything. And I'm going to cut slits at the folded end. So this is the open end. This is the folded end. I'm going to cut the slits at the folded end. And I'm going to do this all the way across. Alright, so I have it completely cut. Now I'm going to open, or let me just say, you can, if you'd like, just roll it like this for a nice little petite center. But if you want a nice, fun, whimsical center, what you do is open completely, flip it over, just press it down a little bit. So you're going to fold it backwards on itself. Kind of like that. And we're going to glue it together. But instead of gluing it perfectly, we're going to glue it off center just a little bit to help it look more fun and whimsical. So take the glue gun and glue it. And then we're just going to glue all the way across. See how it's even fluffier already? Just going to fold it in and glue it ever so often just to make sure it stays nice and secure. Just like that. Isn't that adorable? So, we don't want this hole in the center, and also we need something to anchor this down to. So what we're going to do, I just cut out just a random circle of the pink paper, and I'm just going to hot glue it to the back. Just like that. You see that covers the center and it gives me something to glue my center to. I'm just going to take hot glue, glue it all around the base and stick it in place. And there are so many different centers you can make. You can definitely do the other way I showed you. You can add gems or flowers or anything you want. Just make it creative, make it your own. Look at that. That's so adorable. I just love that center so much. Alright, so essentially you are all done. But another thing that you can do for a final touch if you want, you can kind of curl the edges back. Let me show you. You could take a pin and kind of curl the edges. Kind of like that. If you prefer, you can curl all of the edges. And you can actually even curl the edges before you glue them all together. But I'm just going to leave mine like this. I just think it's so cute. But again, that is an option. If you want to curl, you can curl the center, or you can curl both sides. You can curl it outward, or you can even curl it inward. That's such a great thing about it. You can do whatever you'd like. So I'll leave it like this and leave the rest to your imagination. But yeah, that's my quick, easy Dollar Tree DIY paper flower.